Hey, how you doing?
All right, 9:30. Harper, if you guys can hear us, send Ali or Mudit a text or message. I'm saying that I want to confirm that they are back, that they can hear us. Okay, good. So we're back. That was some of the most miserable I have been in a long time. I'm sure that was very, very evident. And you guys might be. Say it again. Oh, you guys might be wondering why on earth would Ellie and Harper ask me, the two guys with 20 plus years of development experience each, why on earth would they ask a guy with 20 plus days of development experience to present on Ruby? And no, it's not probably just to mess with me, although it could be a part of it. It's also very much part of who we are. We do try to push and challenge ourselves, each other. So as you could see, I was very much taken out of it. And I will continue to be able. Now you guys can actually see what I see the right screen. So just open up Bash or command prompt anywhere, and if all of your Ruby and Rails and for this only Ruby, if everything is up to date, if it's installed, if you checked it, then you could type IRB, and this will open up. An interactive Ruby shell, which I don't know what which one it is. Sorry? There we go. Sorry?
What did you do?
I opened up command prompt. IRB. RB is that's Ruby, and the I is interactive. So the interactive Ruby shell.
I think some of us are getting switched to this platform.
Okay. Yeah. Get out of Git Bash. Sorry. Get out of Git Bash. Open up command prompt. All right. Everybody's there. Okay. So this is the interactive Ruby shell, and we're gonna start playing around with just simple things. And again, let's try this again. And it puts hello Ruby. So puts is Ruby's command for writing something out. Say it. Yes, and so it stands for puts string or put string. And it actually is very, as I said earlier, they have a bunch of, they reserve keywords and with reckless abandon, and they try to, this is actually one of the examples. So if you write exit, it'll get out of the interactive Ruby shell. If you write quit, it gets out of the interactive Ruby shell. Now, in other languages, it'll know what you're talking about. It'll just throw an error because it doesn't like the word that you used. Ruby is this is just a completely different mentality. If it already knows what you want it to do because it's giving you the right error message, so it clearly knows what your intention was, then why on earth not just do it? Why tell you that you've been a bad boy or girl and you need to do it their way? So exactly, a little slap on the wrist. So going back to our little shell, let's talk a little bit about data types and variables. It's oh goodness, losing my place here. So let's start with strings. And I actually, now that I pulled up my notes, I remembered that you guys are going to get a special treat today. I'm also going to teach you a little bit of Hungarian while I'm at this whole Ruby thing. So just type the following. You don't actually have to type the sentence, but Ruby knows it's a string because of the quotes. Just so you know, mondot is it means sentence in Hungarian. So strings are essentially what are strings? Can somebody give me a quick definition? An array of characters, exactly. And so because it's an array of characters, we can do this. And what will this give us? Which is
Y.
Yes. And why? Why is it a Y? Because the arrays start with zeros. Excellent. You see, that's actually the other reason why I guess they wanted to. Ali and Harper wanted to ask me to do this, is because you should know a lot of this. A lot of this will be familiar. Going back to what David started out on week 1, you have to. We're trying to teach you these patterns, and all of this should be very, very comfortable, comfy, familiar, and so you guys will be able to teach me and remind me of as many things as I will today. Yes.
Are single quotes and double quotes interchangeable?
For the most part, yes. The question was, are single quotes and double quotes interchangeable in Ruby? And the answer is, for the most part, they are, but there are some differences which will be pointed out.
So this is a loosely typed language.
Yes.
And it is considerably more loose than even like JavaScript, because
Question is whether it's considerably more loose than JavaScript, and I don't know the answer to that. I don't believe it is.
Well, the reason I say that.
Sorry? Loose is loose, yeah.
Well, the reason I say that is because even in JavaScript, you would have to go like very var mon dot, and with this, you don't even have to tell it that it's variable.
Yes, that's true. He's saying that you don't have to tell it that it's a variable. I mean, you do have to. You do not. You're right. Yeah, basically anything can be a variable in Ruby. So it is from that respect, it is even more flexible. All right, so let's do some quick built-in methods. So just in case we were wondering, it does know that it's a string. We can mess around with it.
Is that a property? What is that you're doing?
What is it that I'm doing actually? Again, this one I happen to know the answer to, but I'm just gonna throw every question back, but not at you, at somebody else. So what did I just do there? What is that dot reverse thing?
You turn that you
That was
all
the
the letters backwards.
yeah, that was the output. But what is it called? What did I do there?
Inverse.
Called a method, a string method.
Oh.
That comes built in. Okay, so one thing to note here though is that this is not sorry. This is it's not stored anywhere. So yeah, it printed that out, but it's not stored anywhere. We'd have to put it in another variable. Let's see. We can do that. We can actually string them along, and capitalize just changed the first character. Well, it did a couple. It changed the first character into a capital letter, and then made sure that everything else is lowercase. You didn't. You do not have to call. You do not have to have parentheses to call a method here.
Can you use parentheses?
If you're passing something in. But yeah, so we will use parentheses. Stop trying to trip me up. I'm already sweating bullets here.
The convention is, if you put parentheses around all your method calls, and you're going to very quickly, identify yourself in a crowd of Rubius as a C# developer, and you better watch your back.
Ali just said that if you keep putting parentheses around your method calls, you will quickly identify yourself in a crowd of Ruby developers as an implant, as a C# developer, and you'll have to start watching your back. All right, so let's do. Now, as I said, if I look at what Munda is, it's still Ruby knows it's a string because of the quotes. So nothing actually changed with those. I would have to do a, let's see, I would have to put it in another variable before it would save, and then I can play around with that.
How did you declare the variable though?
It just knows. I just wrote it exactly. I just put in a word and assign something to it, assign a value to it, and so it kind of knew that that's what I wanted to do.
You don't declare your variable?
I just did by just writing it. You do not. No, I do not declare. You do not have to declare.
Right.
Yes, exactly. So it knows that that's what you're trying to do, but you do not have to declare your variables like you do in other languages. Let's see. So just like there's upcase, there's downcase. There's let's see. Dot length, and there's a million more. It's you guys obviously you want to know that they are there. You want to know there's going to be a couple that you might use, but it's mostly for just to make you aware that they are there, so that you can use your Google powers if and when called for. All right, so let's do some numbers. So there's number 1, put in 1, and as we can see, oh sorry. As we can see, Ruby just knows that it's an integer. We put in 2 and 2, and then we can just. I mean, this is again very familiar stuff. We can play around with it. Same thing with floats. It just knows what you tries to know at all times what you want. And then here's what Scott was asking about, or was referring to in terms of the fact that it's dynamically typed and how flexible it is. So sum is of course an integer because we added two integers. But if I do equals sum plus our number 3, it just immediately changes to a float.
Are there just floats and integers? Are there like any doubles?
There are. The question was: are there just floats and integers, or are there any subtypes of non-integers? And I don't believe there are. I think they're just floats.
I don't think here.
I don't think Ruby cares, as Ali said. So it's in my very limited Ruby experience, I have not come across anything that would indicate that there are any, or that Ruby would care. As you could see from that, I mean these are very very standard. Again, going back to those patterns. So rapid fire. If you add two integers, you're gonna get a integer. If you subtract two integers, multiply, divide. Okay, so but is there's a caveat to divide though, right?
I'm gonna say you're gonna get a float.
You get a float.
You do not get a float. You do get an integer. That is the caveat. So
No matter what.
you get an integer with the remainder. So remember that.
Round up or down.
What is it called? What is that symbol called? And it has a modulus, and it what is the symbol? Yeah, percentage sign. It does not round. It's you get an integer. How many times it goes into it, and then you have a remainder. So I guess it would be rounding down, but it doesn't round. It doesn't lose anything. It keeps that. Yes, sir.
Can you show it to us?
Can I show it? Yes, absolutely. So let's see. So let's do sum. Sum divided by number 1 should be. No, that was a float already.
We don't remember what's in this variable. Could you show us?
Well, yeah. You know what? 3 divided by 2 is equal to 1. There you go.
Now, how would you make that so it actually comes with the decimal?
You can. I mean, you can make sure that. Well,
You do 2 floats?
excuse me. One. Yeah, that's the other. So we went through the integers. If either one of them is a float, then the result will always be a float. Go
Can
ahead.
you convert an integer to a float?
You could convert it, but you can also just do this, and that way it knows that it's a float. So you don't even have to worry about it. Well, we'll do convert stuff in just a minute here. But yeah, as long as one of them is a float, then the result will be a float as well. So let's go. Truth equals true. Very profound insight there. And then, who knows what the answer is? No. It's 42. So the answer is 42. So if I do this, then truth just became an integer from a Boolean. So it goes all over the place. It kind of follows you along. You can keep messing with it. You can do, let's see, truth. What does that do? And what is it called?
That sets it back to.
Adds it and then sets it back to. So now truth is a float, right?
It is kind of nice.
So it really doesn't care. It's the bottom line here, and that's what you need to take away from it. Does that not make you happy though? Just it's just nice to you. It wants to know. It doesn't make you jump through hoops. It's so obvious. Yes, you added a float and an integer. You want you want a float. You added a float, or I mean you go ahead.
Okay, so I know this is just an example to kind of show everything, but like I hit the wrong number on one of the commands, and then since then it fixed num. Is there a reverse, or do you just read?
Fix num. I don't even know what that is.
Because when I was doing no3.class, I did np3.class, and after that it was fixed num.
Mood, would you mind checking?
That was just a question.
Okay.
That's fine.
You just it sounds like you just declared a new one. So you just created a new variable, but you should be able to just move on. All right.
What you mean when you say you build on errors, because if you make a change to a variable, because you don't have to convert it like you would in like C# or any other.
All right. Sasha just said that now it kind of resonated with her how it can build on errors that you make early. You do certainly have. I wasn't really thinking about or talking about these types of errors, but these do come in. The good thing about it is that it is also very good at recognizing when you just lost track of a variable and a type. And so most of the no, it's not. Ali's shaking his head. Apparently, it's not very good at it. So it does whatever you want it to do, but
have three good files later, you're just like, what in the world's going on? And there's no.
All right, Ali is very strongly disagreeing. So it apparently is an issue that it does let you do whatever you want, but the problem is that it lets you do whatever you want. So you'll have to remember what you want it to do in the first place before lest you be hounded by prior mistakes. All right, so let's move on to. Let's move on to another very familiar little object here. What are we doing here?
Creating an array.
We are creating an array. All right, so that's awesome. That's neat. Is that the only kind of array we can create? No. And here comes your second Hungarian word of the day. Yes, I am good. Yes, we'll get there. So here comes your second Hungarian word of the day, which is számok. Well, actually, it's second and then a bunch more. Számok means numbers in Hungarian. Egy means one. Kettő means two. Három means three, and then let's throw in a. And this is going to be on the test. Négy. And who's going to dare to venture a guess as to what that is? Four. All right. So yeah. So it's an array of strings, and then as Aaron was just asking, Ruby also has hashes, which are well. Okay. So somebody tell me what's the difference between an array and a hash? Just guess, because
an array is strictly integers, where hashes can be integers.
We haven't seen what hash is yet.
we haven't seen what. Okay, sorry. Hashes are key value pairs, and I'm going to start typing one in a minute. But the big difference is that one is ordered, the other one is not, and of course that one is a key value pair, is a list or a collection of key value pairs, whereas the other one is just an ordered collection of objects. So let's do a hash. So let's do fővárosok, which means capitals. And we'll do, we'll do, let's see, I want to do it in, I want to kind of iterate this because, let's see, MO, which, this is in my other notes, so, I'm doing this one from memory, which is always a bad idea if you're not experienced. So MO is short for Magyarország, which is Hungary. BP is short for Budapest, which is the capital of Hungary. Let's see. USA, and we're going to, there's DC. I'm doing this the long way because I want to show. I'm going somewhere. Is the
It's not colons, it's not lines.
Say it again.
It's not colons, it's not lines.
All right, he's jumping ahead. So we're gonna put into the USA. We're gonna put in DC, and then the Milky Way is revolves around Winston-Salem. All right, so there we go. All right, so it created that, but that was a lot of. I mean, for Ruby, that was already too much typing, too much complication. So you can essentially do the same thing with something called symbols, and I'm going to read other languages like they are in Ruby.
Very few. Elixir has things called atoms that are the same thing.
Elixir has atoms, which are the same thing. So you guys will see that tomorrow. But
Actually, C# has something similar. They're called enums.
oh, enums, yeah. Okay, similar to it. Okay, so what we can do is, sorry, let me just delete the whole thing. So you can use symbols, which are, I don't know. Okay, Allie, what are symbols? I'm quizzing you again. I'm not. It's not that I need your help.
It's a difficult concept. In C#, when do you use an enum?
When you want shorter amounts of code, so you have to type it less.
True, but you don't have any IntelliSense in Ruby because it's all crazy and dynamic. So that's not a reason in Ruby. It's true in C#. What's another reason you'd use an enum in C#? What is an enum? It's a named discrete list of integers. So it's like, I'm going to name number 1 as happy, name number 2 as sad, or name number 3 as Fovato-shock. So when you say Fovato-shock, it means 3. So it makes your code more readable. That's number 1. So you can say, well, except if you're talking Hungarian. So,
I don't know if you guys can hear Allie, but
I'm recovering from my cold, so I can't really speak up too much. But the idea is that you can name a subset of numbers. And with those numbers, you can reuse them. It's more efficient. Think about the computer. How is an integer stored in memory versus a string? So you have Fovato-shock, which is what? 9 characters? An integer is going to be 4 all the time. So 4 digits in memory, okay? So you could have very large strings too. If it's always just 4, you're helping the computer out. What's more is you say Fovato-shock 10 different times in your code. Every time you mention it, in Ruby, it's got to go and create a new 10-digit thing because it's a brand new thing that you just birthed. Well, in Ruby, the way to get around that and make it slightly more efficient is you can define what's called a symbol. A symbol is like an enum value. Of course, in Ruby, you don't declare anything. The first time you use a symbol, you brought it into reality. So all you have to do is like colon MO there.
Yeah.
You just created a brand new symbol. And it's going to live for the lifetime of your Ruby program. And anytime you ever say capital M-O, again, it's going to look that up into what's called a symbol table, which is kind of like an automatic enum in memory. Do you care? The answer is no, because you automatically create them and you automatically use them. So you don't have to do anything special to use them. But when you see that, you know that's what's going on. Think of it as like a constant string that is automatically created that is slightly more efficient than normal strings. One caveat. Don't overuse symbols, because in Ruby, every time you mention a brand new symbol, it's going to happily oblige and say, I'll create a new one, but there's only one symbol table. So if you clutter your symbol table, you're defeating the purpose of making it faster. You're actually making it slower. So don't
Okay.
overuse symbols.
Hopefully, everybody in Richmond could hear Ali. If not, Harper can fill them in. But it is symbols are there to make your life easier, and but do not overuse them, because every time you declare one, every time you mention one, Ruby will create it and put it in a symbols table where it will live until the end of time. And so if it gets too cluttered, then that can cause some performance issues, additional performance issues. Yes, go ahead.
Can you show calling like one of these items now a little bit?
Sure. Let's see. Hang on one second. I have to cheat. Well, hold on one second. I'm going to call them back in a second. But what I wanted to show is that even this is too much, and this is how. This is again something something unique to. So you have this concept of symbols that colon mo.
What's the equivalent in C#?
Sorry.
What's the equivalent thing in C#? You're just typing crazy syntax about.
Somebody answer. Quick! Ellie's quizzing you.
In
Enum.
No. For Photoshop, that variable.
Oh, capital. It means capitals.
He just answered that it means capitals,
No,
which is
variable.
correct. But it's not an array.
It's called
It's-
a hash in Ruby. What's it called in C#?
What's it called in C#?
Dictionary.
Dictionary. There you go. All right. So this is the way you write. This is the correct syntax for symbols. It's colon and then the name of it. But because this is still too much typing, Ruby, and because you use symbols for the most part, and again, I need to see Ali. Yeah, make sure that I have a clear line of sight to Ali, because I want to make sure that he's not shaking his head. But you mostly use symbols in hashes. No? Yeah. Okay. And so even that is too much. So even this is how focused it is on kind of developer happiness, on making sure that you get to do you, and if it can figure out what you're trying to do, it's uh-oh. Alrighty. Oh, well, it's going to go away again soon because I just stopped it. Okay. So, well, while we're waiting on the feed to come back, so it is how, I mean, in other languages, in other frameworks, this would be unimaginable. But you take something like symbols, and then you just, because it's more convenient, and you get to cut out two characters that equal and the greater than sign. Why not just do it this way? So you will not see the first two ways of kind of setting hashes. You will see this, and but I wanted to go down those steps because. First of all, so it's clear what is happening even before you know what a symbol is, and also just to see how Ruby don't care. It will, as long as it can understand what you're trying to do, they will go out of their way to make it easier for you. So wait, did I just? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and you see that's the output. So it'll do the whole thing in memory, but for you it'll allow you to just type that.
You have to do it in memory first. have to put it into memory first that way, and then
No, you don't. You can any one of those three ways will do
Will
the
work
exact
right off
same
the
thing.
The way you declared it first on line 4, the symbol.
Oh yeah. Well, that's okay. Do you want to go beyond that? Other than
Make
it,
sure they understand.
yeah, those are string keys versus yeah. That is a big difference. In the first one the keys are strings, whereas in the other two they are
So you
symbols.
define a hash. How do you get something out of it? What's the point of a hash? You just play with it.
Well, I mean, you get the let's see. Wanted to play around with arrays first, but here we go. Let's see. What is the capital of the Milky Way?
Not curly brace.
Sorry? Oh, sorry.
No.
Can't read my old thing. Oh, yeah. Sorry. It's. There we go. No. Dot. Oh shoot, symbol. Because now they are not. Because it's no longer a string key, it is. I actually need to look for the Milky Way symbol, and the capital of the Milky Way symbol is Winston-Salem. All right, so
Can you change that to Richmond?
can I change that to Richmond?
The capital of the Milky Way, Richmond.
I absolutely can, but let's see. But you might have to help me. I mean, I'm gonna quiz you. Förväroschock. Did I use the same thing?
Could you use the index?
Forgot the code.
Sorry?
Colon
Can I not just-
W, right?
Can I not just do it that way? Sorry?
Exactly like we read on the previous line, equal Richmond.
Okay.
Closer.
Yeah.
You mistyped instead of.
quotes.
Sorry? Oh,
After the W,
No.
where's the square bracket?
after the W. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I got you. All right. So Ellie's. I'm trying to trip him up, but he keeps passing my quiz here. Oops. All right. So now if I want to see what the capital of the Milky Way is,
Make it
it should tell me that it's Richmond, which is equally true. All right, so let's jump back for a second to the arrays that.
That's exactly. Don't gloss over that. That is what you do most often in Ruby. Rubyists, for some reason, use hashes more than any other language construct.
Ellie's saying that Ruby uses hashes more than any other language construct, so this is the reason why he asked me to quiz him on this is because this is very important in Ruby, and you do use it a lot. Going back to arrays for a second and doing those just the similar methods that you saw with integers. There's a million of them just the same with arrays and hashes. Let's see. These are all just kind of lookups. You can actually very easily manipulate them as well. So if I do this, what's going to happen if I do this?
It's gonna take it off the hash.
Take no, almost.
Samok isn't a hash.
Samok isn't a hash. Yeah, Samok is an array.
Take off the array.
It's going to take what off? The last one. Okay. So it's going to pop nade, which was 4. And say if I now go back into Samo means counts, just in case you caught that. Now if I go back to Samok, it only has those 3. I can put it back by doing a push And these are actually permanent, so these change it for good. And let's see. There we go.
Do you have to use the parens when you call that method?
You do, because you're passing something in. Do you have to use the parens? Was Ali's question, and I don't know if it's a question to trip me up or a question to. Do you?
I don't remember. Usually that's how you see it, but try it with just spaces.
All
Let's
right.
see if Rudy's that loose.
Samok. Let's see. And that would be ut, which means 5. And hot, diggity, dang. So yes, loose as can be. As long as there is a way for it to figure out what you're trying to do, what you want to do, it will help you out. Okay, so some others. Let's ask it a question. I mean, does that not? That's pretty close to English, except for the Hungarian words, right? It's true.
Sounds like a diff statement.
It does, doesn't it? And actually, we'll get to that in just a second. How?
In other languages, you cannot put question mark as part of your method or property labels. Okay? So
Ali is just saying that in other languages you cannot put question mark, just casually include a question mark as part of your method. And so,
Yes.
yes,
Oh.
include question mark is the name of the method. That was the question, and the answer is yes. Let's see if I have anything else here. Oh, there's something like this. If I want to join Samok, and I'm pretty sure that you do need the parentheses here. You do not need the parentheses here either. So just apparently this will, yep, that even without the parentheses, it figured out what you wanted. You wanted to join all those that array into a single string with spaces separating the elements, and then you can do the opposite. And I just assumed that we needed the parentheses, but as I was looking at Ali shaking his head, it became obvious that apparently Ruby is looser than even I thought, and that that doesn't mean a whole lot. But let's see, Samok underscore J dot split, and I don't think I need to include anything else. Yep, put it right back. So. All right, so we can do similar things with hashes, and as Ali said, you're actually going to do that. You're going to do that a lot if you. What did I do? Oh, I didn't spell right.
See how good the error messages are there? It says no method error, undefined method first.
Oh yeah, Ali's pointing out. Yeah, it's worth. Yeah, actually, I totally did that on purpose just so you can see this error message. Undefined method first, which, yeah, for the hash, did you mean first? I mean, that's, you cannot do better than that. So it will work very hard to try to figure out what is it that you're trying to do, and when it, even when you're just blatantly lying to it, it will still kind of be onto you. So yeah, fővárosok first is it gives me back Magyarország and Budapest. Let's see. I could do. We already added something, I think, and I could do the delete as well. And oops. So now if I call back, let's see. I'll just do that. Milky Way is no longer there. Let's see. I think that's about enough fun for in terms of just messing around. I mean, you guys get the idea, right? Like this is this was kind of to demonstrate. These are all very familiar concepts, maybe with the exception of symbols, although there are similar concepts in other languages. But this is kind of just to give an idea or a taste of how Ruby interacts with you, how Ruby treats all these variables, how Ruby treats all these types. It'll treat you as if you knew what you were doing. That can be good. That can be bad. So let's jump out of here and let's do the obligatory hello world thing. Basically, just to see. Actually, you know what? You guys can do that. You already saw what you need to, what the command is for putting something out on the console, and I just gave it to you again in case you didn't. And the file extension is RB. So just make a directory, create a directory, put a text file in it, make it put hello world on the console.
Type the instructions into Slack so they can reference it.
Oh, this is an exercise. This is like a 2-second exercise.
Oh, you want us to do it now?
Yeah. Sorry. The question was, do I want you to do it right now? And the answer is absolutely. It should take 2 seconds. I want you to create a Ruby file that puts hello world, and I just reiterated the command puts hello world, and the extension you need to use is RB. So just create a directory wherever you want your Ruby stuff, name it, again, whatever you want, Ruby exercises, and in that directory, just create a text file that then change the extension to RB so that it's a Ruby file, and we're gonna open it up in the we're gonna open it up using Ruby. I'll show you that in a second. Actually, well.
Could you actually walk us through doing that?
Yeah, actually, I just realized that that's probably all right. So let's do.
So I'm having issues exiting out of Iris.
Oh, exit or quit.
Not working.
Quit.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing, but I just closed the window and opened back up again.
You can try Control C. It. All right, so let's see. Let's do.
I don't know why the rest of this didn't work. Do you see this? Nothing came up. Oh, and I did it there.
It works now, so.
All right. So you created a directory where you're going to put your today's exercises. You should. Well, you can go in there and actually. Let's see. That is. Let's see if that works.
So this is inside of Ruby.
No, this is just you just create a directory in your on your machine wherever you want to put it. Let's see. Oh. I am okay. So we've got Empower Ruby. Okay, here we go. So Empower Ruby on C, on the C drive. I created a directory called Empower Ruby right here on my C drive. World. I already have one, so I'm just going to do another one, and then you can change it to change this to RB. Yep, you do know what you're doing, so you can change it. I mean, tell Windows that you know what you're doing, and you can go ahead and change it. This is not doing anything right now, so you're going to open it up in whatever editor you want, and then inside of the file, you just write the command puts hello world, and that's it. That is it. Of course, this is you're gonna run into a little bit of a trouble to try to see it, because it's just gonna disappear on you. It is there, and there's other ways to see it, and we're gonna check it out in a second. One thing you can do is if you're already in this directory, you can do Ruby. And actually, I'm going to need the other one. You can do Ruby, the name of the file, and segments of segments. All right, what did I do wrong there?
Is that the name of your file?
Your little single apostrophe.
Yeah, Ruby HW.Ruby.
Okay, well, yeah, I did do this one. Well, maybe it doesn't like the
What's the name
apostrophes
of your file?
for some reason. That was the name of my file. Oh no, I already created this too. I already created both of them. Yeah. So I touched or echoed the other one. Do I have to be in the? Surely the no.
Open file HW.RB. Let's go over there.
Oh, haha, haha. I didn't. There we go. All right, so now it puts hello world. So yeah, another thing you can do, you can make it, you can trick it into, you can trick this into pausing just by telling it to expect something back, which is the gets command. And so now you don't have to open it in command prompt. You can just double click on it. It'll open it up in the in terminal, and it will it puts hello world on there, and then it will wait for you to give it something. It doesn't know what. So as soon as you do anything,
So you
it'll close out.
the file as a .rb, not as a text file. And
Yes.
then when you do type Ruby into the command prompt with the name of the file, it'll automatically pop it up.
Yes.
You don't have to type Ruby. Just whatever once you're in your directory in your command prompts, you just type the name of your item.rb.
Oh yeah, you will. Yeah, actually, Aaron is right. I don't even have to type Ruby because
It's normal to type Ruby.
because
You're
it.
saying run this Ruby file with the Ruby.
Yeah. So Aaron was pointing out that you technically do not have to type the word Ruby in there because of the extension. It already knows that it's a Ruby file. But Ali was pointing out that it is the convention to actually do type Ruby, so that you're telling it to open Ruby with or open that file using
I have a question.
using
So
Ruby.
do you
Yes,
have to
go ahead.
do you have to put it in the command prompt in order for you, when you double click it, it'll stay on the screen?
No. The in command prompt or here, it does because you're not closing it back out. The question was, do I have to open it in the command prompt for it to stay
Yeah,
open?
because when I go to the file to double click, you know how it keeps going away?
Yeah.
When you did it, it stayed on the screen?
Okay, so the way if you're the reason why it stayed on the screen for me, the question is how did it stay on the screen for me when I just double clicked on the file? It's because I tricked it. So the original, this one is basically what's happening to you, right?
You don't ever
Okay.
do that.
Sorry?
You don't ever do that.
Yeah.
You always go to a command prompt, you're in a terminal in that, whatever you're doing, you run your program and it comes back.
You always do it in a command prompt, as Ali was saying. I just basically tricked it, and I might as well show you, even though you will never do this. This gives you or teaches you another Ruby. What is that keyword, Ali? It's a command.
So when I run mine in command, it says undetermined.
Mood it will help you. Okay, so yeah, I put in the word gets, which is it tells Ruby that to expect something from the user.
The same way
So-
you would if you
Mood
were
it.
writing
Input.
Mood it.
Similar to input. It's basically it's waiting. It's now waiting on me to give it something, and because and so until I press any button, it is going to stay on the screen. But again, this is not something that you would do anyway. All right, so now we are going to open up Visual Studio Code. Is what did you need?
Just that command prompt with one. I'll-
No, I had something. I had an extra character inside. Before puts, I had a single quote, which did not need to be there.
You don't need that apostrophe.
Sorry.
Go up one more on the screen.
Just remove that. Yeah, save it. And then if you try running it. So
What are we looking for?
Very good, thank you.
Good, thank you.
All right, so we're in Visual Studio Code as let's see. Let's open our little file here. You can actually just drag and drop it in there. We'll open up in Visual Studio. You can actually, as Harper stole my thunder yesterday when he showed you guys the control backtick opening up the terminal in Visual Studio Code. I always thought that was cool, and I was very happy when Paul didn't use it at all when he was talking about Angular. So thanks for that, Harper. And that wasn't the only thing. He did a couple of other things. Anyway, so let's start writing some. Oh, make big. Oh, there was a joke there. Better? Oh, let's not overdo it. Is that okay?
It was better where you had it.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, but then I literally can't see anything. So let's compromise. Let's compromise. All right, so stay with this file. How do you comment things out? Just hashtag. Let's do. Let's start familiarizing ourselves with.
So hashtag
With-
comment.
Yep. Begin and.
There's lots of ways
It's
to do it.
yeah. There's many ways to comment. Actually, if you highlight multiple lines, and did you need it?
Yeah, do you remember when you were sitting back here and you couldn't see the screen?
I do. Is it that bad?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, is that better? It should be. It is better. Question is
Certainly better.
is it acceptable?
It's more acceptable, yes.
More acceptable. Okay, let's see if I go one more. All right, I can still probably live with that.
So you got two comments right there, right? On 1 and 2?
Yeah.
How do you toggle that back and forth?
That's what I was about to say. Is that I don't know. Ali says that there are
What's the
multiple ways, but if you highlight multiple lines at the same time and you do a control // Control forward slash, control forward slash. You're toggling between common and uncommon, and it's easy as can be. All right.
Notice the comment style, it's hashes. It's not forward slash forward slash. This
Yeah.
isn't JavaScript.
Do notice that. I mean, yeah, there's comments is one of those things that every editor will have a way to just tell you. So whatever language you're in, you just do that once, and then you'll see the symbol that it uses. And more often than not, the control forward slash is actually a built-in shortcut that will allow you to do that. All right, so let's have a little Ruby fun. And 10:30, we had an early break, but Allie and I actually have a client meeting at noon, so we're going to start lunch a few minutes early. So you guys tell me if you want to punch through or if you want to go on a break. But for now, we're just gonna keep on going. So let's do a how old are you? Puts how old are you, and of course that only makes sense if we give something if we give something back. So let's do an age equals gets, and then once we give it once we we'll talk about what that does, but then let's see, puts age. What is this called?
Concatenation.
Indeed, concatenation is. Say it again.
That would put age and then a new line is a fun, right?
All right, somebody's
Jumping the gun.
jumping ahead again. All right, so this is. This is, let's see. Let's save that, Control S, and then, let's make sure that we're in the right directory. Oh no, it was, all right, so how old are you? Let's say I am 12, and then it gave me back this. It gave me back the concatenated put that I was anticipating, but it put this strange little unanticipated break in there. And that's because the gets method always takes in a break unless you put, or the gets command, unless you put the put dot. It's supposed to be chomp. There we go. Dot chomp. Now if you save it, run it again. It should do what it's supposed to, which is put it all in one line. 12 is a fun age. All right, so let's do something else with it. Let's see, next birthday. The next birthday is age plus 1. Now, if I do that based on all the previous exercises, what's going to happen here? What's going to happen with next birthday? What's going to happen with age?
It's gonna add your age. It's gonna be another lines.
Say again?
It's gonna be a multiple lines.
What? No, is it going to be a multiple lines? No, it's sorry. It's not. It's not going to be a multiple lines. I'm talking more about types here. Think of data types.
Still need to do 2.
No, well, what is Oh yeah, okay. So Aaron already gave the answer. So if you well, let's try it and then see if he was right. So we're gonna go and try to run this. How old am I? 12 or 112? And then there's a bit of a problem here. So let's see if the error messages are still as smart as we thought they were. Implicit conversion to integer of integer into string type error. So yes, there's a type error because this takes in a string, and so age is right now string, and while it can do a lot of things, it doesn't automatically allow you to start adding numbers to strings. So we do have to use the to_ string method here. Wait. Oh, to I. I'm sorry. Yeah, the to I, because we want to add a number to it. Yes. Can you not see it? Oh, sorry. All right. So now now it should be happy. How old am I? 12. 12 is a fun age. Oh, I didn't put anything back. So let's see. Next birthday, and now it should remember, or it should do that too. It should know what my next birthday is. 13. All right. So, what else can we do? What else can we do with that?
Is there another way to concatenate?
Are you asking me, or are you asking the class? Please ask the class.
Yeah. That seems like a lot of typing for Ruby.
A lot of typing for Ruby. All right. Are you talking about, what are you talking about?
Interpolation.
Interpolation. Yeah. Okay. No. We're getting there. We are getting there. All right. So. Yeah, and this next here will be, yeah. If you let's see, puts. Okay, so we were gonna go with we're gonna jump to it, and this time next year you'll be, and then how do we do interpolation? Is that what we're talking about, Ellie?
Yep.
All right, so that was the question.
Okay.
Asked and answered. Now, what's the difference? And this is not unique to Ruby. What's the difference in terms of what you can do with interpolation versus concatenation? One is always a string.
Ruby used to always like to do interpolation. What I
Yeah.
like to do.
Yeah, you will be using this instead of concatenation. All right, so save that. That should totally work as expected, right? And this time next year you'll be 13. All right, so this is, so far it's kind of nice, but it's not. It doesn't. Where's all that? Where's all the beautiful code? Although this already should strike you as somewhat pretty, shouldn't it? The colors are nice. Yeah, that's true. But no, I'm talking about the simplicity. It's just
It's too long to type. Is there another way to say that?
If puts is too long, I mean you can. Is there a P will do it? All right. So
Also, do you need to?
I know that the print will do it, but is P short for puts or print?
I think it's put. I'm not sure.
Also, will you need to escape your rule using escape character on the comment?
Say it again.
The apostrophe. And you will leave me an
Yeah,
example.
yeah. No, I don't. I don't. It figures you out. The question was, do I have to escape the single quote, the apostrophe,
Well, it's inside of a double quote.
inside?
If you put it inside a single quoted string, the answer is yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And how
Okay.
do you escape it?
Forward slash. Backslash. Sorry. If yeah. So the question was, do I have to escape it? And here I don't, because it's inside set of double quotes. Let's see. 13, and this time next year you will be. Oh, not only do I not know the.
Exactly. So it is slightly different.
Okay, so
So you can
all right, so let's go back to that. Hang on one second. What is it? What is the question?
Can you remove that 13? Under 12 is the front age.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
remove line 8. You don't need to.
Yeah,
don't
no,
wanna-
yeah, it doesn't matter, but yeah, sure, I can.
I
It's,
mean, if you don't want to see that next number because it's gonna say
it doesn't.
at this time.
we're,
then you
this
could
is
just
this is
remove
not
it.
gonna make logical sense. Like this is not we're not. Let's see. What did I do there? All right, I just wanted to comment out that yes, okay, or I can just go ahead and delete it. All right, so let's do an if statement, and that's to me that's where the Purdy really starts. So let's do an if next birthday is, let's do if we want to see if it's a big anniversary or it's a big round years. How would you do that?
If we want to like
Equal.
No, not even. Let's say that if it's a decade, yeah, if it's one of those. Yes. Modulus 10 equal 0. So does everybody understand that?
I know.
All right. Allie does not understand it. Mudit, could you help? Can you help? No. But good point. Okay, so since we can't hear you, Harper, just point to someone in Richmond. Adam, go ahead. What does that line say?
Which line?
Line 9.
If. All right.
What does
so
that do?
If the very next one is for BD. Remember the percent? Is it?
Modulus. Remainder. So okay, if the remainder is 0 when you divide by 10, so essentially it figures out if it's a big round year. Because if you divide it by 10 and the remainder is 0, then it's a big year. So if that is the case, then it's going to we're gonna do is the big round. No, we don't. We don't know what it is. I mean, it could be 10. So is the big round next birthday, and okay. Else, we're just gonna do that. Okay. So. And then we need to end it, or do we? Anyway, that does.
There are no friends around your if.
Yeah, cheap.
Go up to.
It's yeah. What I was gonna ask if anybody could tell me. So I guess Richmond might not have heard Ali. So just tell me what you notice about that. Like. Couple of things other than the pretty colors. We have already established that the colors are pretty.
Not only do you not have any friends, you don't have curly braces to define the body of your.
You don't have curly braces to define the body. You don't have parens. It's kind of, I mean, yeah, you use the modulus is about the most non-English thing that that you threw in there. Well, I guess interpolation for, but it's just it's easy. It's super easy. It's not. I mean, the syntax that you need to 95% of the syntax that you need to figure out in Ruby is English. So if you English good, then you should be halfway there. So yes, I did actually have an actual note for myself to pause for oohs and ahs because that is pretty, and it's and it actually reminds me of as I mentioned to Richmond, to those of you who don't know me, and as you guys know, I grew up in Europe, and there's something I never noticed until I moved here. I drove here for a while, and then I went back, and the first time I drove around in Budapest. It drove me absolutely nuts. Is when you're sitting at a red, and there's a technical explanation for this, but I didn't find out about that until later. So you're sitting at a red light, and there's a warning before it turns green. So it goes red and yellow simultaneously, and that is to give you a heads up that it's about to turn green, which I always thought was the stupidest, dumbest thing ever. Everybody's sitting there looking at the light, waiting to get going. You do not need an additional warning. You're kind of alert to it, and that's what Ruby does. You already know why you're there. You already know what you're trying to do. Just give me a little bit of a hint. Oh, you type if, especially you put an else a little bit later. Yeah, I kind of know where your head's at. Like, I'm not gonna make you, and this is it's gonna get a lot. Like, this is the fat Ruby version. This is where you're typing for typing's sake. Ruby doesn't need all of that to know what you're trying to do. But even this is it already gives you, again, it ties back to that developer happiness, coder happiness. It's don't make me tell you the things that you already know, because I guarantee you, if I leave one of those curly braces off or leave a paren off, you're gonna tell me that I left it off. So you already know what I'm trying to do. You're just messing with me. You're just trying to mess with me. That's one thing. And the other thing is that most of you are starting out. Some of you have some experience, but most of you are starting out. And I mean, just don't even give me it's not even a yes or no. It's just give me a percentage. What percentage of your time when you ran into problems with C# doing exercises, just what percentage of the time was it that you had you didn't close something, or it was a semicolon? Yeah, exactly. It was a paren instead of a curly brace, or vice versa. Just somebody throw a number in.
50%.
50%. So they're 50%. As somebody who's starting out, there's 50% of your headaches just gone. You don't have to worry about it. All right. So, but as I said, this is still pretty complicated. I mean, let's make sure that it.
So what would we put in there to make it kick house the next year? The big round.
Well,
what number?
What number do you want to put in there? What's your birthday before you turn the big round number? So let's do
60.
29. Well, if you put 60 in there, 29. So the next is the big round. If you put 60 in there, oh sorry. If you put 60 in there, then it would have been 61 is not around, so it would have given you the alternate answer. All right. So all right, let's keep moving here. Now let's, you guys, again, all of these are going to be very, very familiar, and so I don't. Hopefully, all of you know all of this, all these operators. This is just to give you an idea of how Ruby operates. What is that? What did I just type there? And so what's going to have to happen here? Both must be true, exactly. So if both of those things are true, then we're going to do something new. We're going to do sorry. I may have taken the next birthday. Okay, and now here's I'm gonna delete some spaces here, even though it's nicer to read when when you have some real estate to work with. Right now I do not. Okay, so what is that? I mean, it's easy to figure out. Just remember it, because that's a kind of a weird one. I mean, I understand that you're trying to save me from having to type, but that E was not gonna hurt me. That E was not gonna hurt me. This, however, did trip me up a couple of times in terms of just typing, just automatically typing else. So let's see next. What else? What did I try to do here? Oh, so if this logically this is not going to make a ton of sense, so just remember that before we don't need to be having conversations about just how this actually makes any logical sense. This is really just to showcase syntax. But let's see. Well, next year's big round, and you have a
Screen went off.
Oh, sure. Shoot. All right, Moody, can you make sure that they're still getting us?
No, is ELSIF or ELSEIF?
Okay, so sorry.
ELSIF, is it ELSEIF or ELSIF?
It's ELSIF. So that is the
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna pile in a few more. So 18, and what is that? Did somebody say? I couldn't hear anybody, but I'm assuming that you know what this is, because again, these are well plowed fields. So we're gonna do puts. And then what do they still need? Just the final answer.
Number 14 is what you meant, but it would probably work in Ruby. What would that mean?
Haha, yeah.
Like that, what would it mean?
No.
No.
If 21 is true or not.
Yeah, is 21
Is
true?
21 true? Yeah. So.
It's true. Anything non-zero is true, I believe.
So yeah, I thought Ruby was smart, but apparently I was wrong. It can't figure everything out for me. Can't correct all my mistakes. All right, so does that make sense? A little bit. Doesn't make a whole lot. As I said, it does. We don't need to. It doesn't need to make logical sense, but it's important that we know kind of what to expect. So how old are you? 12. Fun age next year will be 13. But if I put in 17, what's going to happen?
And you have a major B-day coming up.
And we have a major birthday coming up. Same thing if I do, oops, sorry. Yeah. Ah. Okay, there we go. All right, and then if I do 59, 59 is a fun age, but 60, that calls for shots. All right, so momentarily, this thing right in here, it's again, it's that's two things. There's no reason logically to do it the way I'm going to do it, but this is just to show you, to demonstrate something called case. So when that next birthday is 18, let's do a then puts vote, and then when next birthday is.
Go ahead and type that out. What's the equivalent in C#? Switch.
All right, so don't even necessarily need to run it, except this will need an end. All right, so everybody, I mean, it does make sense. You know what it's going to do, right? Well, let's do it just in case.
Just do it for fun.
Just do it for fun. Any questions or comments or observations about the syntax? Allie? Bueller?
Seems pretty flexible.
It does seem pretty flexible, doesn't it?
I have a question for Allie.
Okay.
How come you don't like it?
He doesn't like it because we do a lot of nasty Ruby these days.
What's nasty?
Think about how loose it is,
Mhm.
and if you have careless developers, what you might have to clean up after. If you got a simple Ruby program, it's great.
So if you
In
have
a
a
real
bunch,
Ruby system, you spend hours, literally hours, trying to find one line of code that's the problem. And it may be 10 files away from where you start. And it's hard to find because you can't see it.
see that.
They waste a lot of time on the job.
You spend 80% of the time trying to find the line of code you need to change, and 20% or less actually fixing it.
All right, Ellie's reflecting on if one of those drawbacks of Ruby, that if you have to touch code that was poorly written, then the fact that Ruby is so loosey-goosey can actually become a major headache, and this may or may not help explain why it might appear to some casual observers that Ellie and Harper are not the biggest fans of Ruby. But I think a lot of it is just scar tissue.
I don't dislike Ruby. It's a fun language.
It is a fun language. He said that he doesn't dislike it because it's a fun language, but that there's some scar tissue there, and it comes from that early comment that as it builds, you can early mistakes can actually become real major headaches. All right, so that was still an awful lot of typing, right? It's for a language that's supposed to be. Go ahead.
How did you comment that out?
I'm about to, because that was just too much typing.
No, how did you?
Oh, how? You highlight them and then you do a control /.
Line 13, is that a double pipe?
I don't know if that's what that character is called, but yes.
Two, because it's not. Okay. So it doesn't say four.
Yeah, that's That's what that is.
Okay, 'cause I didn't-
All right, so that's still an awful lot of typing for a language that's supposed to read your thoughts and kind of figure out what you want. So let's see. Should we go another 45 minutes? Because we will have to end that, or can we? Let's take a 2-minute break while I type it up so that everybody can stretch their legs. Because we went a couple of hours. Some people need water. I need water. So we'll be back. Let's see, it's 11. I'll be back. Let's do 11:10. All right.
And do we missing one?